Welcome to T4G Sports. Today we are going to be talking about who do we think is going to have the number one recruiting class at the end of the year in the 2025 recruiting cycle. And we asked you guys and what you guys came out with so far, and it's only 19 hours in, but you have Georgia at 44%, Ohio State at 42%, Alabama at just 14%. Like always, guys, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, click the notification bell, and let's jump into it. All right, so we did a video a couple of months ago, or I don't know how long ago at this point in time. We talked about the scariest team in college football moving forward, and we had to give it the title to Ohio State. And the reason, if you haven't seen that video, make sure to go and watch it. But the reason that we gave Ohio State that title is because they changed the back end. And I don't believe that Ryan Day had an AD in place that thought football first. Now I think with Ross Bjork, I think they think football first. I think the new president of Ohio State, I think he thinks football first as well, from my opinions that I've gotten from the interviews that I've watched. I think it's obvious that he knows football is king at Ohio State. And I think that these people in the back end who are now have an SEC-like mind and they say, let's unleash the full power of this program. I think they're doing that. And I think Ohio State and Georgia are going to be the two top recruiting classes. Alabama, I don't have up there as the two top recruiting classes because there's anomalies happening. And we'll go over these anomalies, and I think it's not great for Alabama. Okay, because we can look at it and say, number one, number two, we could just go through and look at the data and just go, yep, it suggests that they're the best, blah, blah, blah. But the problem is you have to look at the tea leaves. You have to make sense of what these numbers mean. You have to look at the anomalies. You have to look at trends. You have to look at what their pipelines have been for the last 5 or 10 years. You got to look at all the different statistics to really have an idea what we're talking about here, and that's what we're going to provide for you guys. So this is the biggest anomaly thus far that I want you guys to really understand. In the last 5 years, Ohio State has not gone into the state of Alabama and landed a single recruit. The year that Nick Saban retires, they go land 2 top 6 Alabama players. This should scare people. I think they could also get Autry. I think they could flip Autry. That's just my personal opinion, but I believe that they could flip Autry. We'll see if it happens, but I just believe it can. And I think that this would not have happened under Nick Saban. You would have not lost the number 1 cornerback, number 2 in the country, number 1 in the state of Alabama. You wouldn't have lost them to Ohio State. And this is why I don't have Alabama, jumping up, because I think Alabama, even if they get some of these guys to decommit and they commit to Alabama or Auburn, or elsewhere, the damage is being done. The underclassmen are already seeing Ohio State flow into their border. Okay, and Ohio State saw a weakness here. They saw that the GOAT retired. They saw that there's a new coach, Kalen DeBoer, obviously, with the GOAT retiring. You have a semi-new coach at Auburn. They got a good NIL program as well. They're trying to claim the state. Right now, it's a jostle to who can claim the state. And Auburn's winning. But then you have Ohio State that comes out of nowhere, left field, sniffs some weakness in the air, flies in, and they land 2 top 6 players before Alabama lands their top guy. I mean, that is a pretty big, bold statement that Ohio State's making. And even if some of these guys decommit, the damage is being done right now. It's being done. And in Ohio State, this is an anomaly for Ohio State. But is it an actual anomaly? Because we talked about this. We said Ohio State's the scariest team moving forward, and this is proven exactly what we're saying. This is already happening right now, that they're doing things that they have not done before. Okay, this is what Alabama and Nick Saban has done to win natties, and Ohio State is doing that same thing. So is Georgia. But Ohio State is doing that, and they are terrifying. I'm telling you, they are absolutely terrifying. So that's the number one thing, is they're going into the heart of Alabama and they're taking the guys they want. And that's scary. That is very, very scary. So let's look at position here just to get a good grasp. Quarterback, I'm not worried about. Okay. Running back, the last running back coach, when we did a video, when he left and went to Michigan, we said it was actually a good thing because he wasn't very good at recruiting to Ohio State standards. And it proves it this year. The running back that running back coach was recruiting for eons decides to go to Ohio State, not Michigan. So that just shows the power of the new running back coach and Ohio State as a whole. And then who else? You're looking at the 12th best running back, and you're in hot pursuit of him right now. And you have the 13th best running back who decided to commit to your team. Let's go to 2024 and see what the running backs in 2024, what he got. The 7th best running back, and then like no one else. Like no other top running back. Let's go to 2023. Let's see what that running back coach did in 2023. Do you see any running backs? No. So the new running back coach is already doing more than the last running back coach. They're upgrading every single position that they need to upgrade. They're doing it right now. Here's the big indicators, though. Wide receiver, also not a problem. They're in hot pursuit of Jamie French. They're going after Vernell Brown III. Even if they don't get more, which I still think they could get more, even if they don't get more, it's really not going to be like a big blow to Ohio State, if we're being honest. It's just not going to be a big blow to them. They already got Quincy Porter. They got another guy too, Jones as well. They're going to be fine with tight ends or with wide receivers. Now, tight ends is the next one here. Tight ends, they pulled a big one here. You got Nate Roberts from Oklahoma. Okay, this was a big pull. And they did it with Jelani Thurman a couple of years back where they went to the heart of Georgia and got Jelani Thurman, and they have not done that. That was an anomaly. Okay, so now they're starting to make these anomalies, they're starting to make them consistencies. Okay, and that's where people should start to get a little bit terrified. Georgia's always going to do great. This is why I say Georgia and Ohio State are just going to be battling like hell. Michigan will always do good as well. Look at the edge guys. You go in and land your top edge guy at Alabama. That is amazing. That is astonishing. And I don't think they're done there. I think defensive line, that's where they need to continue to just show that they're a powerhouse on the defensive line. They need to land an Autry. They need to flip one of these guys because Georgia's going to feast. So you need to flip one of those guys. Offensive tackle, though, by the way, this is the big thing. Don't forget the offensive line. I didn't forget it. I love my trench hogs. So they got Lowe already. I like Lowe. I love his production. I love what he can offer a football team. I think he's a beast. If they land David Sanders Jr., right now, if you look at the experts, they're talking about Tennessee and Ohio State, right? If they land David Sanders Jr., that right there is the clear indication that I'm looking for that says that they're it. That's the Nick Saban recruiting class that you needed to win a championship. That puts you over the top. So really watch David Sanders. If he goes for Ohio State, that is not good news for a lot of football teams out there, including Georgia. Georgia will be fine, but they don't want to see that. Of course, you don't want to see one of your biggest enemies building up like that from across the way. You just don't want to see that. Interior line, they have a pretty good interior line right now, but they obviously could keep adding to it. They really need offensive tackle. That's their biggest thing on the offensive line is offensive tackle. We already went through the D-line, edge rushers. Linebackers, the next thing that they just need to get more linebackers in abundance that are really good. They got C.J. Hicks, but he's now a junior. You need to start getting these other guys in the mix. And so Tarvis Alford out of Florida, I think that's a huge pickup. I think they need to land one more top 15 linebacker if I'm going to be satisfied with this recruiting class. Cornerback, this is where it's just ridiculous. 1, 2, and then you're looking at the 7th best cornerback right now, Dorian Brew. Dangerous, very dangerous for Ohio State to be landing this. And here's where it starts to get extremely interesting as well. Safety. Michigan did a good job at getting Winston, but they just got Delane. So they got Delane, and I think Trey McNutt right now, he's leaning towards USC, but I have to say, I would not want to be in USC's spot to where you land a guy like this, and USC just had 2 defensive linemen, top 2 players in the country at their position, decommit within days of each other, and then you're expecting to hold on to Trey McNutt, who's in the heart of Ohio. That's a bolt. That's tough for me. I think I've seen this before too, where a guy like this will commit elsewhere, not Ohio State, and then decommit and go to Ohio State. I'm not saying it's going to happen. If he goes to USC, he could maybe just stick there and play it out and do whatever. He could go somewhere else. I don't know, but I just know Ohio State is a football team. When they have a football player in their back backyard, that makes me weary. It's like Georgia and it's like Alabama. If there's a guy in their backyard, you don't want to be the guy who gets the commitment right away early, because as the season unfolds, if you're USC, if you're getting beat up in the Big Ten, which they have one of the toughest schedules, you got guys decommitting on defense already, that is just not a good sign for you to land Trey McNutt. So I think if they land Trey McNutt, they pull him out, they land David Sanders Jr., they land another big defensive lineman, and if you get more, it's over. Ohio State solidifies that they'll have the best recruiting class in the history of Ohio State, and I think that's a Nick Saban recruiting class. I'm comparing them now with Nick Saban's recruiting classes, and right now they're on par for it. And I still believe what we talked about before, that Ohio State is right now they are shooting to be the scariest team in college football, and I think Georgia is a close second. I really do. I think Georgia's right in the mix. I think it's going to be those two fighting for the top spot. And, this is crazy. There's definitely anomalies happening that I think people should watch out for.